or devalue what you're going to do with the money. Because, for example, if you take a loan that has costed you took a loan 100,000, it has costed you 10,000, so you have got lovely Lily 110,000. Then you go buy here a property that is 100,000. With that loan, how much have you bought the property at? Come again? 100 and? That's it. That's it. That's how you have to understand these things. You don't assume aliniusia tu pesa kidogo 100. Yes, it didn't cost you that. That was not true. It costed you 110,000 Kenya shillings because you took a loan that costed you 10,000. And that is the amount of money you took to pay this. And so the second question, I'm talking about questioning things. The second question you ask yourself, and this item that I've gotten at 110, what is its value? Listen, something's value is not your sentimental feelings. Please listen. This is where we missed most of us because we are emotional beings. Sentimental is, kuna kakitu unapata unasikia mzuri. There is a thing you have, you feel good. For example, you can, if you love, the guys who love cars, and they'll tell you every kind of a car, it's everything. If that guy gets that car, he'll feel himself on the top of the earth. That's sentimental. But the question is, what is that car worth? What is it? And its worthiness is not the money. It's what will it give you? What will it add to you? What will be your value? After getting what you get from what you borrowed, what will be your value? What is your value now? What value has it added to you? Or what value has it deducted from you? You must ask yourself questions. Because it may come at 110 and immediately deduct from you another 20,000. The value goes further. Why? You might have bought, for example, let's use an item that will require some addition. You might go in and buy something that you need to improve, whether it's a car, whether it's a plot, whether it's a house, whatever it is, and before it becomes productive to you. Let's say, let me not talk about those things that don't bring production. It's something that to me, you want to use it as a taxi, for example, and then that thing requires you buy new tires. You will buy, what else? You may repaint it. It may require some changing of the inside before it goes to start earning you. So there's a lot of money you are going to add on it. Let's say finally, on the 110, you bought it at 110. The owner sold it to you, you said at 100. You use another 20,000 to upgrade it. And there it is. Up to this far, it has not started producing for you anything. The question is, up to this far, how much have you bought it at? 100? 130. You go on. Then finally, you start getting the licenses that you need to get to do the business with that particular vehicle. So you get the license maybe at 5,000. And maybe you might need a driver, or you are the driver, and let me come when you are the driver. And maybe you are going to be the driver. Now, this is where the trick comes in. When you are the driver, when you employ a driver, you're going to employ a driver, let's say at 12,000. And the driver comes. You know now, from that moment on, when you negotiate with a driver, you agree, my salary is 12,000. What has happened to you is simple. You have simply added a debt to your life of 12,000. Why? You must pay salaries. The salary is no longer yours. Immediately you tell somebody 12,000 and you sign papers, you get credit. Because that person, whether the vehicle wants or not, must be paid. That's why you must ask questions. That's why you must have analyzed how that business works. That's why you must have gotten somebody with a taxi and maybe sat down with somebody who is honest and did some understanding. That's why you must have studied and gotten the facts. Because now again on the 130, you've got a 12,000 that when you're paying the bank back their loan, maybe of 4,000 at the end of every month, you need to pay another 12,000 on top of the loan you're paying the bank for the vehicle to survive. And now, I'm coming to you now when it is you. That's what I wanted to say. The challenge here comes in when it is you who is the driver, because we have a habit of assuming that we need to pay others and we don't pay ourselves. So you don't calculate like you owe. You don't calculate like you are a human being. You lose it. You say, ni mimi najiendesha gia. What are you telling us? Look, if you can employ a driver and pay 12,000, pay yourself 14. Ask questions. Analyze them. Write things down. Go down, get them clear. Then after getting it clear, then we are assuming at this time you are an intelligent person. And therefore, you have done all the study. You know where you can do the best business with a taxi. You have understood how the mileages are calculated when you are going to transport anybody. You have calculated, you have already connected yourself to a good mechanic. This is why you have to do your study, because you can't just say, nitaipelekea mechanic kama itakuwa na shida. If you did not do this initially, you're doing wrong. You must have known, if this happens, who is the best? Who can I trust? That's why fast vehicle owners always have trouble with some guys called mechanics. Because they realize you're not knowledgeable. And when human beings are around and realize you are not knowledgeable, they'll take advantage of you. So you analyze that also, and you go down to that. So you know your hours. And so you make now a timetable. And you see, this timetable that you make is for your work. You don't, that's why it is very, very, and I've said it here again, never lie to yourself that when you employ yourself, you get freedom. That's not true. Freedom from what? When you employ yourself, you don't get freedom, you get responsibility. Because everything, the back stops at you. You are the one to pay the salary for you, the driver, at the end of the month. You are the one who is responsible of the debt that you owe at the end of the month. The back stops at you. When you get yourself self-employed, you get responsibility. There's no freedom. You are doing a timetable because you can't sleep up to 8:15. Because the best way now to become a captive and a fool is now to think it's freedom. And instead of having a timetable that wakes you up, you wake up whenever you want, and you pray that God will add your hours by giving you many customers. Let me now tell you a truth. The earth, God finished the creations of the heavens and the earth and set up principles that functioned. And these principles are the ones that work for all of us. Don't lie to yourself that I will do what ought to be done, and you do what ought not to be done, and we achieve the same. It will not work. It's like pretending that you are going to harvest wheat when I was planting my wheat farm, and you are seated and you never plowed anywhere. Excuse me. So you have a timetable, and you know I will be waking up at 5 because the people who are working near KHE report at 5:30. I will get my connections there, and I should be getting my first customer at that level to drop them there. I will rest at about 1 and 2:30. I will have my resting moment. And this is what I'll do with those moments. I'll be reading for 1 hour, taking lunch for 30 minutes, praying for 30 minutes, and relaxing for a few minutes. Real timetable. If you don't do that, what happens is that time and the people control you, because Otieno will call you. Oh. Okay. Now, I repeat it. Let me repeat it. I'm saying you need to get a timetable, because if you don't have a timetable, you don't have time. That's what is called timetable. So if you don't have a timetable, you have no time. Even if the day goes from 6, let me emphasize there. Even if the time goes from 8 to 6, you don't have time. Time is when you harness it. Just like you harness solar energy. Steam is like solar energy. If you want to use solar energy to light, you have to harness it. You have to have something to capture it. And when you capture it, you can join it to a battery. And when you join it to a battery, you can join the battery to a bulb. And the bulb can give you some light. The same case here. If you don't have a timetable, that is a program of how you will spend your day, it will be spent for you. Your best friends will call you. And you remember your vehicle has got petrol. And the problem with not learning, and be allowing me to use the word foolishness sometimes. The problem with foolishness is that foolishness does not allow you to know the details that destroy you. So, when you are just finishing your first sleep, your friend calls you. There is something they would want to discuss with you. You don't have a timetable. Hello Peter, uko wapi? Nimemaliza tu trip ya kwanza. Ebu pitia hapa tuongee kidogo. Uko pande gani? Niko na uko chini. You turn your car, it is consuming fuel. It is consuming your debt. The debt you took. You turn your vehicle. Go down to where Hamisi is. For what? Iko aje maze. Ile bole ya jana. Ilienda aje. Tuliwashapa bwana. Tuliwashapa. Yeah. Kwanza mimi nakumbuka. Unaona ile score? Yeah? Now the guy gets excited. Unaona ile score? Vile iko. Cast be the devil. Adore his lies. Somebody say amen. Because you see, look, you have a debt here. And remember how big the debt is. This is now your business. Is what you have to do. But you do not become careful to catch the smallest foxes that destroy your vineyard. You must be careful to catch the small foxes. Because the small foxes are poisonous. You know, many big crops are not destroyed by elephants. People, they are destroyed by pests. The returns of any harvest are not destroyed by big things. They are destroyed by pests. They are destroyed by small foxes. They are destroyed by small flies. And you find a big farm of 400 acres producing nothing because of small flies, because of small things that infected the farm. So the driver, we are dealing with a case study. We are dealing with a case study of the taxi driver. So he comes and they talk about the ball. This time, he forgets a customer who he picks at exactly a specific time. And he fights himself right. As they are talking, the customer calls. Kama uko wapi? Umeshelewa leo bwana. Sema, oh sorry, washa nikuje. That is the last time that customer is taken by you. The customer gets late because you went to your friend. And what happens tomorrow? Customer trust disappears. So what happens? You don't have that customer. So what happens? You have to struggle to pay your loan when already you have been provided for. Somebody was paying you every day because they had already gotten confidence with you. But then you lose confidence because you are careless. You are not careful about those small things that matter. There is nothing more important than this in this world than trust. Please don't forget that. When people trust you, they will even surprise you. When people trust you in business, that's it. That's it. You don't need much. That is it. If you are that mason that I trust, that you know how to do this, I will stop my construction until you are through where you are to come and do my job. Because I trust you. If you are that person who does the best and who always does it the right way, I want it all the time, I will wait for you. I will pass through others across the road and travel all the way to where you are because I trust you. You see, guys, there are some cars, for example, there are some cars that you don't take to the backstreet mechanic. You have to drive it direct to the manufacturer. Why? What if the manufacturer spoils it and you suffer some loss, despite him being the manufacturer and having a big name? You will look for a mechanic even in the back street who has a name. And if he does it well, you forget the big multinational and you'll be taking your vehicle to the back street maker. Is that correct? That's the point. Because he has wielded, he has grown trust. So now, you do your business up to there. So now, listen, where we started. We started by you taking credit. We started by you having a loan. And now you are paying the loan. You remember last time we said, always pay your loan in time. This is how you gather credit. Value credit. By having to be charged more. You credit, trusting you. And therefore, if you want something, you can just make a phone call and you have money in your account. Because you are paying in time. It also disciplines you because your brain knows, I've got something to pay. You know, there are guys who have got loans or credit to repay and they remember when they are called. If you find yourself there, you're in trouble. You must be very clear what you are earning on a daily basis. And I repeat that. And I repeat that. Please be clear what you are earning on a daily basis. Don't leave to check what you earn at the end of the month. It is deceitful. Get yourself to know what you earn on a daily basis. How much you earn every day. Because how much you earn every day is what you determine what is the value of the meal you take every day. What is the value of a purchase you do every day? You know, what is its value? What is the value of anything? So whatever I earn every day, I'll be clear in my mind. I can't consume more than what I earn every day. In fact, I should be clear that I can't consume more than 25%. That's an average percentage of what I get in every day. Because I'll have to pay a loan that I'm paying at this percentage of what I earn every day, and so forth. That makes you organize yourself in a better way. In fact, there's something I'm working on because I have struggled with it. God help me. We all struggle with things. Don't think there's a magician. I'm also struggling with some things. Right now, I'm struggling with putting down every expense. You know, I got very embarrassed this week when somebody had sent me some money into my M-Pesa. And then the person calls me and tells me he had sent me money. I had consumed it. It was not in my M-Pesa anymore. I even tried to think, nilipea nani, nilifanya nini nayo. That thing woke me up. I asked myself, what's this? Because that is a red flag. It's a warning. You are becoming careless. Because if you have to prosper, if you have to grow, you must know what you are using. You must know what you are using. If you have to use it from your phone and it gets out of your phone, you must know. It is getting out of my M-Pesa. Where has it gone? You must know. It can't be a week later that somebody is calling you and you don't even know. Alikutumia pesa. Yeah. I know I'm saying what happens to you. I know I'm talking to you. I know it happens to you. Please, learn with me. That thing stirred me up. In fact, I'm looking for every way. I don't know which one yet. But I'm now working on a mechanism, on a system, because I believe in systems. On a system that will manage me. Such that if such a thing happens, automatically, it will be easy for me to register it and to note it. And to know particularly it is not mine. Like now, what was being sent was not mine. I was supposed to do something with that money for someone. But I never noted it first, so I consumed it. So what happened? What did I get? What do you call that now? When I consume money that I was supposed to do something with for someone? That is again what? That's credit. That's debt. So if I had a debt before that moment of 100,000, with the additional 10, I already got another debt of how much? 110. So I may try to kill my debt and never be able to do, because I'm not realizing it. You may try to clear your debt, but you're not, because of those small things, the small foxes. So we must get somewhere where we are able. In fact, I admire guys like Hamden. My goodness. There's some guys who are just gifted from heaven. Gifted. That's why I believe nobody will stand before God and accuse God of not giving him the ability to organize his files, including me, who really needs help. And I'm working on it. I can assure you I'm not going to say this again when teaching a class. I've made up my mind. I have to get a system that organizes me, that I don't make such mistakes again, where I don't have debts I shouldn't have, where I don't do things I shouldn't, Until you find somebody in a shop, anauza duka, a complete educated person who went to school, anauza duka, anaenda kupita, mama moja anapitia pale akiobaoba, anaingia kwa ile kaboksi ya pesa, anatoa 50, anampatia. Because you are a good person, you are helping the needy. God help you. There could be foolishness. How had you planned to give the 50? Yes or no? Why do you give? What is the difference between that? What's the difference between that than walking into the supermarket? Because this is the next problem. What's the difference between that and walking to the supermarket? You had gone to the supermarket to buy maize flour and sugar. Then you walk into the supermarket, you get a trolley. Instead of going where sugar is and maize flour, it's like you went for a tour in the supermarket. It's like you had nothing to do. You went to a museum. So you pull your trolley across the supermarket. Unaona kakitu, unaona tena. A the impulse tells you, just pick it. You pick it and throw it into your basket because there is money in your M-Pesa. Then maybe you are those people who have not disciplined your children, and you went with the children. And they go along asking for everything. Namwambia, mami chukua. Talk to Pastor Hilda after this on parenting. Now, mami chukua. So mami chukuas. And then you go along, and finally you go back there. You put your trolley right in front of the teller. What you needed were 2 packets of maize flour and 2 kgs of sugar. But what you have there is triple the things you needed. Carelessness, foxes that spoil your vineyard. You can't get out of your poverty. You can't, because you have no discipline in controlling yourself. You lack self-control. When you walk to a supermarket, walk where you want, purchase what you want, walk out. I can see the way you are behaving. I can see. But it's a fact. Kuna twingine hata wanawekanga hapa kwa mlango. So that because they know there are so many fools who will come here who don't plan their lives. Because they carry a list. In fact, don't buy anything. Tomorrow go to the supermarket to do study. And they watch people. And they look at some people who come with a trolley and a wrist. They are using their common sense. You are using your lack of sense. Si ndio nilisembeana notebooks ndio watu waokolewe na hii kitu. Na niko na 7 simebaki kwa gari. So that you can be able to do those things. You see, you know, we talked about how to make yourself 15% richer. These are still the things you are handling. Don't walk into a supermarket, never. In fact, I've tested myself a number of times on that. That one I realized. Honestly, that one practically, the other day needed some toothpaste, toothbrushes. 2, I always buy 2. Because people who use toothbrushes in my house that I care how they clean their teeth are 2. Me and another. Now, so what do? I walk to where the toothbrushes are. Buy my 2 toothbrushes. Go to the teller. Pay for my 2 toothbrushes. Walk out. I am not an employee of the supermarket. And ladies and gentlemen, this may look like a joke. I know some of you will even go joking with your neighbors wakitembea huko leo. Najua tuliambiwa na Mr. Marita hivyo na. And they repeat the same. Please don't. I charge you by all the mercies of God. Please change that one. Don't. Why? It is eating on your value. It is eating on your financial abilities. And because it is something that's going to happen every other month, it is eating on you. It is eating on how you should have paid that debt you took from the cooperative or that debt you took from the bank. It is eating on it. It is the same way with the guy with the taxi. Because he never imagined and consume mafuta. So he just drove to go and see a friend. Then after finishing the job of the taxi, that's the one you're using as a case study. Then after finishing the job of taxi, you find him telling you discuss with him, anakuambia, kazi ya taxi haina pesa. Bana, mimi nimeifanya physically. That's why you should not be advised by a person who is not successful. Always check who advises you. Don't ask people who have failed to help you. Ati niliona umeanza hii biashara ukaanguka. Nini ilikuangusha? Ati ndio usianguke. What is wrong with you? Ati akwambia ile ilimwangusha ili wewe usifanye nini? Sasa unafanya nini? Go to somebody who succeeded in doing that business. Because hii jamaa maybe he doesn't even remember how much he wastes going to see my friends wake. Akitumia the same fuel. So you pay him now, you pay him to bring you to Zion. But before he gets back to get the next customer, the money you paid you, all the profit, he has used it to go and see the neighbor. So he just becomes a slave, a captive, who gains nothing and only labors for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, may God help us to get wisdom. And one of the most important things my time again is gone. Good, thank you. Now, let me put it like this. One of the most important, where we started is still where I am. Ask questions. Please repeat that one. That one you had put there, please put it there in capital letters. Never ask what? Never seek for advice from? If he has failed, not really a failure, from a person who has failed, because failing does not necessarily make you a failure. But the main point here is, don't ask people who are failing advice. Don't. You know, it's like if you have family problems, for example, and your neighbor is having family problems, and then nyinyi wawili ndio marafiki. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Look for somebody who doesn't have the problems. Don't look for comfort. Most people who do this, they're looking for comfort. Naona nitafail, so wacha nipate reasons za kufail. So be articulate. Be a person who seeks information. And when seeking information, we must always repeat. It is not from a person who has failed. It's not look for advice from people who are successful. Don't look for people just because they look intelligent. To look intelligent, in fact, intelligence is not necessarily success. Otherwise, all intelligent people should be billionaires and trillionaires. There's something bigger than that. And these small foxes are the worst enemies we have. And ladies and gentlemen, as when if you take credit, take care. If you take any debt, take care to know, to have every detail on how you are paid. Because there is no way, I always say, and I always repeat, don't take a debt unless it's a very serious matter that you are not, that you are going to pay. Don't. But you see, I said as much as possible, to the 90% mark, let you not be the payer of any debt you take. Let it be paid by the results. Let it be paid by the profits. That's what capitalism was all about. In fact, capitalism initially was a very beautiful thing. It was supposed to encourage you to use your capital to grow it to profit, then have the profit develop capital that will employ another person, make profit, pay it, develop capital, employ another person, get profit, pay it, develop capital. It was a multiplier. It was supposed to be a multiplication. But you see, one thing that is the biggest challenge, like we started by saying, is what is out there. The adverts, all this. And I must repeat what the prophet asked me to repeat. Wherever you live your life, whatever you need to do on a daily basis, have a program, have a timetable. Be clear. Let you not be a busybody. Don't be a relative of Cain. That was intended to be a serious statement so that it can be remembered. Do not be a relative of Cain. Don't just move aloud. Know what you want. And always don't do one thing. Don't labor. Oh, no. Learn to enjoy life. Have some hour to relax. Have some hour to do what you love. Have some hour for laughter. Have some hour to do good exercise. Have a moment where you just chill. Yes. You just have, you must. Because you see, again, when you get very tired, you are not very productive. But if you've got a sequence of doing things, well planned, you don't get very tired. Because whatever is obsessing you, you have a point to steam off. And then when you steam off, you can go to the next part. Nowadays, it's gone to a level where some big international companies have developed restrooms, not toilets, I mean resting places, where guys just, when you get tired, you're free. You can just walk there and lie down, stretch yourself, and count the stars. Because people have become responsible. They are no longer followed where they go. They have got targets. What we're interested with is target. Even if you sleep for 2 hours there, we don't have a problem. What we have a problem with is production. So give us the production. Because being in the office for, like now what we do in Kenya, in Africa, in many places, people, we celebrate you because you come at 5:30 and they leave at 6. I will not celebrate you for that. What did you come to do at 5:30? Wengine wakija saa 2. Hukuwa na kitu ya kufanya? Then you leave the office at 6:30. What's wrong with you? That's not what I'm going to calculate. What I want to see is, what did you bring in? Within the hours you are working, if we have said it is this hour, why add? It's like the way we take children for tuition. The child has no time to rest. Even you need to have a way of controlling it. Where you look at production, how much profit have I brought into this company today? At the head of the work, you're employed by a company. If you are one of the people I work with, and you're employed by a company called Marite Enterprises, what did you bring home in the evening? What can you say, this is my earning for the company? Because it is what is also the earning for you, really. Because the more you make, the more the company makes, the more also you have possibilities of making. So you have to ask yourself on production. So you need to rest, you need to relax, you need to enjoy. You don't work. Until ukifika nyumbani, you fall on a seat like a rock. And you got married last month. I mean, you need to have a moment where you get there and do what you like. Always. If you don't do what you like in life, it becomes very bad. Some of us, the problem is different things. People like us, like people like me, I love, my resting is reading. When I read Kakathink and Anishalage, I get excited. Or going to see something. I like traveling to see things. I like seeing things. If you want to know what I like, is adventure. This morning, time is gone. No stories. Please listen. Mm-hmm. And his mentor could have been a teacher like this one. Now listen to this also. Wisdom and people, find out. That's why I said question whatever you, because you are not look at what has happened. Look at this scenario. We teach like I'm taking now. I'm asking you, why go at 5:30? What are you doing at 5:30? You could be going at 5:30 because your most productive hours as a person is between 5:30 and 10. Are you getting me? But what I'm talking about is whether you come up at 5:30 or you go up to 6:30, your production is what is important. When you don't reason well, you have a problem. In fact, you don't live the life of your mentors or your teachers. You have a life to live. So you must ask what? Questions. If you have such a thing, you should go to a mentor, sit him down, and ask him, you said you're always home at 6. And me, I must be home. He wants to be like you. Don't be a nape. Be authentic. Don't be a what? A nape. Be what? Authentic. Be real. Be yourself. In fact, like me, if you ask me to work at night, I can't. But there are guys who will work at night from 8 to midnight and be the most productive, what we call night owls. That's why you need to study. What we are doing here, we are not giving you guidelines. You use A, B, C, D. It is gather information, see how to work it out to be able to produce. Are you getting me? Yeah, don't pick one statement and run with it. And the Judas killed himself. And the tomorrow you find yourself dead. And you will find a note on your body saying, and the Judas killed himself, so I go to heaven because I am following the scriptures. This is like what we teach. Any teacher, study to show yourself approved all the time. So pick up what is important. That because what you are being taught are principles, and what you are here about principles is production. When you produce, that's what matters in life. Please, my time is gone. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Relax. It's breathe in. Breathe in and out. And it's important to answer a few questions. This one was tough. No, we are giving you a moment because I know you are not ready for it. You are putting it together. It's all right. Everybody breathe in. Out. Yes, sir.
Majored on credit that we get from others. How about that which we extend to others? How do we manage that to ensure that we also don't give too much and it affects our lives and our business?
The day before yesterday, a friend of mine, let me call him a friend for the sake of language. A friend of mine came to me, and a man who earns a lot of money from where he is employed. And he ended up in my office, and he sat, and he told me, Mr. Marita, I've really struggled to come here. I have struggled so much that I don't even know, even to tell the person what I'm going through. I only told my parents last week because everybody believes I have a lot of money. And it is true, I have had a lot of money. And now I'm in trouble. I've already given out my car, gotten a loan to pay some money. I've already here orders from the auctioneer wanting to take my car. The bank, I have a bank debt that is already behind by a number of months, and so forth and so forth. And then he told me, I'm those people who don't say anything. Now how do I say it? When, look, everybody believes I've got a lot of him. Everybody believes I have a lot of money. Then I asked him, let's talk. I said, now, because you've come to me at the city, you've not even talked to your brother. It's only your mother. That means you're my friend. So can you tell me, how did you get there? That's the point. The guy has been so nice. He took care of his brother's children. He takes care of anything that happens at home. Everybody calls him. If there is even a child, when a child coughs, he is the Panadol. If anything happens, and he is so nice. Sitaki ndugu zangu wanishukie. anything. So everybody have noted the guy is easy. So he has been giving out until he borrow what to give to his family. When I talked about a timetable, I must also go to financial, something we talk in finance. I don't like calling it a budget. Have an income spending list. And be very clear how much you can give and how much you can't. And even if what happens, have the discipline. Unless it's something that, there's something that can come. If you put law on a stone, because kuna kitu zinatokea uone, hii hata kama alsafa, let me help. Si ni ukweli? But not you are intentional. You are intentional. You are intentional. You don't give if you have not planned. That's what I said. If you remember, I mentioned about those groups. Ida tunawekagwa. Kaidre joined my WhatsApp group. And you join WhatsApp group, and what everybody is doing is raising funds. Kwani wewe uko na pesa ngapi? You are not Kenyashality. Give intentionally. Decide if you are going to educate your brother's children. Decide, I'm going to educate Kamau at Atieno and tell him, I'll be paying for Kamau 500 and that one 2,000. You're ingine tafadhali, find a way of helping yourself. Be specific. Don't fear people wakuchukie. That is again being a fool. This world, you have to be authentic. That means you are not helping. What you are really doing, you are trying to create relationships that are not real. They are not real because they are not real. Hakisina ukweli. It's like you are buying relationships. So the best way to do that, my brother, is simple. Be clear. Me, I suffered that for years until one day, in fact, it's a prophet who rescued me. I don't know how he noted, but he told me something and I've forgotten. He, in fact, called me and sat me down and told me to be careful. Then I looked at it. And it became more productive when I give intentionally. Because I'll give everywhere intentionally. And I'll give productively. Because I'll decide this will help. And I'll go in. Even if I give a lot, I'll give all of it. And I'll see the results. And it's exciting. If I have to educate a child, I decide I pick this from Form 1 to Form 4. And it's intentional. Hasomi tu term moja anakosa kulipa. Because it's intentional, I've planned it. So my money is an investment. So whatever you give is an investment. Ask yourself, what is the production? And don't feel sorry to say no. Please, the biggest thing a person can learn in life is 2 letters. N-O. Learn to say no. You don't need to call it so or no, so I can't be able to do that. In fact, the same week, I've made up my mind. If it's somebody I need to help and I don't have the money, what I do is, I have some money, I always say, kama I must do this. I'll give this one 5,000. Kama nikopa alikuwa kikopa nikaona kona shida. Sitaki nirudishie, and that will be all. Because also don't let yourself become a bank where everybody borrows. Don't be that person who creates so many careless people. The way people borrow. Anyway, another question. Yes, sir. Oh, that means how many minutes are you giving me? It is now 1:15. The last one. Okay. Please, everybody, lead what is on the board. Lead it to your neighbor. Look at your neighbor. Tell your neighbor. And they say no with happiness and without any feelings. Go on, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the lesson of today. My question concerns the issue of debt and equity. If today I came to you, I want to start a business and I want some kind of funding. So let's say I come to you and I want a debt like of 100,000. That means that I will have to repay you with some interest on the same. At the same time, when I come and say that I want you to buy shares in my company worth the same amount, it means that we will grow together. So as a business person, which one will you recommend for those maybe who want to venture into some businesses? Will you recommend that I go for debt or I go for equity? Thank you.
Now, equity is very interesting because you see, my brother, we go slow because it works very well with the people with good money, what we call rich people. I don't know at what level people start becoming rich because people call you rich, wherever they think. But you see, those things, it works best with big companies that you are sure that they will produce and your shares will add value. You see, when you buy from my company, for example, you will have a moment of studying my company, seeing how it has grown and developed over time. You'll be able to look at our financial records, see how we have been earning. You'll look at our spending habits and see how we spend. You'll even be able to understand even our own mental way, the way we think, by the way we do things. If you use what I'm saying, becoming somebody who inquire, somebody who studies. So the best one, of course, would be buying some equities, buying some shares. Let me put this word for everybody to understand it easily. It's buying some shares from a company, but you must be careful, because what company? Because I've seen somebody starts a company and somebody goes asking him, "Can I buy some shares from your company?" Now the answer last year, because you see like he's doing well, and you quickly agree how much he'll give you so that the company becomes yours and theirs. Please study how it's done. Good for international standards. What they do proper analysis that makes them understand how that company works. They look at financial records of not less than 1 year. They get accountants and they get analyzers to analyze the financial records and their development and their assets. And then they give you an answer at the end. This is the projection we would expect this company to be at. In the next 1 year, this company will be there. That is their prediction after a proper analysis. So, why give them a debt? So you buy shares. Because when they get there and you realize what they are getting as better value, then what do? You give them your money. But if you don't analyze, you just look at things. And then you say, hey, how wanafanya vizuri? Unaona mkumba wao vile anaendesha kigali kubwa? Na hii jamaa alijenga kanjumba ya kukaa. So unaona, don't study to show yourself approved. Find out, question everything. Then you can go that direction. Normally that is the best, because you also own a business. In fact, finally the business may become yours. But you also have concessions. That's the advantage. When you are doing equity, you have concessions, because in your negotiations, what we are calling equity is two shares, not just the normal shares. You know, the kind of equity he's talking about is, if, for example, I want to sell you a part of my rich enterprises. You see, what happens is you have a moment of negotiation where you say, I'm giving you 2 million shillings, but I will be sitting in the board. I will be a part of the board members, people who make decisions. So you see, the concession also protects your money. You also have a moment of saying a number of things. You agree. You may change the whole structure of how that company works by negotiating it so that it can be successful. And finally, it can become a huge company. To tell you the truth, this is what finally makes some companies end up buying other companies, like what Centum does. Centum, in most cases, what we hear them making out of profit, what they do, they look at a failing company and they buy the majority shares. And they dictate who is the directors, who is the CEO, who is everything. And they say this is the way the company will run. And within a short while, since they had already seen the probabilities, the company shoots and they make a lot of money. After now the company is at its best, they sell it. Triple, 100 times the amount of money they bought it at. And that's it. They sell their shares. They have an advantage. Those are the levels we should get to. These are the levels we should strive to get to. Hallelujah. Questions? No more.